So I've finished reading Helen Garner's Joe Cinque's Consolation. It's a book I had to read for uni, and it's about I don't know how to explain it. I guess I'll just sort of have to read the blurb to you. But in October 1997, a clever young law student at the Australian National University made a bizarre plan to murder her devoted boyfriend after a dinner party at their house. Some of the dinner guests, most of them university students, had heard rumours of the plan. Nobody warned Joe Cinque. He died one Sunday in his own bed of a massive overdose of rohypnol and heroin. His girlfriend and her best friend were charged with murder. So that's the general gist of, that's the background story of it. So this is based on actual events. So pretty much it's Helen Garner, the very famous Helen Garner, pretty much her experiences following the court and the court cases, and her experience with this case, and she reports quite well. I thought it was a really touching story. Like the start of it is very much court cases and going through the actual just trials and everything, and how the families were reacting from their interactions with her, and what she managed to get from interviews and things. Yeah, that's really the basics of it. I thought it was a really well written book. I honestly loved it. I thought it was great. I had a lot on, so I didn't get a chance. Like, it took me a while to read it, but I reckon if I had had more time, I would have sat there and read the entire thing in one go. It was very good. It ended really nicely. It wasn't too one-sided. That sounded odd, but it wasn't particularly, like, it was subjective, I guess, but it was subjective whilst trying to be objective, because it's written from Garner's point of view of her going to these court cases and what she thought while she was going to the trials and everything. So it's good. It's actually really well written. I liked it. The crime itself is horrible, and reading bits of it I just thought, this is awful. But it was well written, and it was compassionate, yet, like, it wasn't didactic. You didn't feel like it was beating you over the head with this idea of who was right and who was wrong, and it made interesting comments on, the laws that we have in Australia, and things that might be wrong with it, and not wrong, but interesting loopholes and things that there are for the law, or in the law that we have now. And yeah, I think the creepiest part of the whole thing is that this is real. This happened. This isn't just some story. This actually happened. So it's quite frightening. But anyway, apart from that, it is a great book. I highly recommend it. I had to read it for uni for one of my topics. But it's a really, really good book, and I highly recommend, if you get the opportunity at any point in time, to get your hands on it and read it. Garner is an amazing writer, and the story is really touching. It doesn't have, like I said, it's not biased as such. I mean, that there are bits where you can see that Garner's trying to hold back on her emotions, but it's quite obvious her stance at that point in time. It tries to show as best it can the full story, but with limited research and limited access to opinions and information, it did quite a good job of that. I thought it was really well done, well written. It was beautiful. It did make you question the law, and it did make you question justice and things like that, and it made you wonder about different things. It did keep, like, I know there were, like, in the book there are bits where she's talking about, people who are on trial and people who were, you know, charged with his murder and a few other things like that. And it always comes back and it keeps reminding you the point that Joe is dead. Joe Cinque is dead. Like, it quite literally gets to the point where it's like, but in the end there is only one point. There is one point that will stay this way forever or something. And it's like, Joe Cinque is dead. And that line, Joe Cinque is dead, actually does pop up a fair few times in the book, as if to remind you, yes, all of this is crazy, but you have to remember someone actually did die. Which was, I thought, a nice way. It wasn't like brutalizing in saying that. It doesn't bash her over the head with the fact of, you know, you can't take this lightly, whatever. It doesn't, it's more of a showing and a slight reminding than a telling, really. Like, it seems like it's something that would be a telling, not a showing, but in this way it reminds you ever so slightly that this is very serious. This did really happen. People, this guy really did die. Like, he was murdered. You know, it isn't just a nice story, it actually happened, and that's the scariest part of this, the whole book, I think. But it's definitely a really good read, and I loved it. I thought it was a beautiful book. Highly recommend it. Highly, highly, highly recommend it. Anyways, I should probably go because I have a lot of work to do, 2 more books to read, and essays to write, and all sorts. Because I just, oh, so much work coming to the end of, I'll remember in a sec. The end of semester, there we go. The end of semester, sorry, I'm really tired. The end of semester and everything's due. So, yes, I shall say goodbye to you all, and hopefully I'll see you soon with another book review.